Hello, everybody. It turns out a swamp right after it rains, not the best place to build a fire. So that's fun. We'll see what happens. It should be good in a second. Oh, we'll see what happens. Oh, I'm in Florida. I'm always in Florida. Unless it's the summertime, then I'm up in New York. There we go. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even know where Sebring is. I'm in like north central Florida, right on the border of Georgia. I just searched it up. It's south of Orlando-ish. I'm amazed I got that fire going. Yeah, I'm like in the middle of a swamp right now, and it just rained. We had a thunderstorm yesterday, so everything is soaking wet. So the fire might work. It might not work out. We're gonna find out. It'll be an adventure. I'm sleeping in the shack tonight. So, well, technically it's a dog kennel. I built a little shack for my puppy Jade, and I've just been sleeping in there with her. I got a burn barrel, and yeah, just the past few weeks, there's no roof on it. I've just been burning stuff, keeping warm. Me and her have both been warm, and just hanging out in there. I say it's a dog kennel. It's basically a bunch of like recycled metal and some old logs and some old 2x4s that I just threw together in like an hour. Fire's going pretty good considering we're in a swamp. I know on the bottom there's a piece of fat wood. It's gonna be nice when that catches fire. I ate about 30 minutes ago or so. Now, normally what I do is I just let it burn down a little bit, and I throw it in my pan right on the coals, boil some water that way. Works perfect. Hello, vagabond. Oh, it's rough being stuck in the city. Every time I made it to a city, whenever I traveled, the first thing I could think about was, how do I get out of here? There weren't very many concrete jungles I was a fan of. For real. I spent, what was it, 2 or 3 months in Cumberland, Maryland. And that's not even a big city, but still, it's the drugs and everything. I just couldn't handle it. I don't know why I stayed so long. Just friends, I guess. They kind of kept me around, and finally, I just had to. Sorry, I need to move on. Left, came down to Florida. Been going good. Oh, the part of Florida I'm in, ticks are absolutely horrible. I have to check my dog every night for ticks. Even though, like, I give her was Armor All or something like that. She's always got 2 or 3 ticks on her. I pull 4 or 5 off me a day. It hasn't been so bad since it started getting a little cold, like since December. But I was down here in August and it was just horrible. Yeah, ticks are no joke. And down in this area, we have the Lone Star tick, which has that special disease that makes you allergic to meat, and that really freaks me out. Like the idea of just being allergic to, like, chicken and red meat and such. Oh, that scares the heck out of me. But I've never had Lyme disease, luckily. But I check myself every night, every day, so. Around here, I think the biggest thing to watch out for is snakes, honestly. Like, yeah, snakes. We have a lot of different variety of snakes down where I'm at, and I'm living out in the woods, and they are absolutely everywhere. Yeah, I'm allowed to bird. Also, I am literally like in the middle of a swamp. Like, half that fire is in like 2 feet of water. So, and we just had a thunderstorm last night, so there's no possibility of anything catching fire that's not supposed to catch fire. Oh, stepping on a tick's nest sounds horrible. I'm in the part of Florida where the cops don't really care. Like, you're allowed to burn, but even if you weren't, like, I'm in a very rural place. Like, the closest house to me is far, far away. What items are in my pack when I travel? That depends on where I'm at in the country. So on my last trek, I made from Cumberland, Maryland, down here to Florida. I left in September, might have been October. I carried with me a 30-degree sleeping bag, a small pot, a little heater, and a tarp, and a hammock. And that was basically it. Like, I learned very early on, just travel extremely light. Also had a solar panel. Ever since my first time in Florida back in 2020, I've always carried a solar panel on me, one of those fold-out solar panels. They're amazing. It's pretty easy to find a place to charge up with an outlet, but yeah, having that solar panel, it just makes things a lot easier. I could never live in an HOA. Could never do it. Oh yeah, the final chapter. Where was that at? Oh my goodness, the name of the canyons escaped me. But yeah, I'm gonna get to that final chapter video, I guess you could say. That one was a doozy. It all worked out for the best. The way I look at life, like every decision I ever made led me to this point. And at this point, I'm pretty happy. Hey, I just get to live out in the woods, build whatever I want to build, hang out with my dog. I'm in a good place. The RV. It's still on the dude's property. It was his RV. He just told me, hey, you can do whatever you want with it. So I gutted it out just for a better place for me and Jade. But yeah, no, it's still on his property. I still talk to him from time to time. One day I might go back there. He's got a house on that property now. Really nice guy. I think I live only like 3 miles away from him now. I say I live 3 miles away. I'm in the woods like 3 miles away from him right now. I miss walking. I miss traveling on foot. And I would, honestly, I'd love to just take off tomorrow. But I got a dog now, and although I know for a fact she would love it. Like, she would, if me and her, we took off on the road, she would have the time of her life. I don't want to walk and travel with a dog. Yeah, it's not fair to her, and it's so many complications. It'd be so complicated. So. I agree the best traveling companions are dogs, but yeah, this is a Belgian Malinois, and I don't know. I just wouldn't want to take her on long distance walks like that, especially when there's no plan. Like if I ever decided to hike like the AT or something, the Appalachian Trail, that could work out with her. 'Cause, there's spots I can definitely camp out at. I don't need to climb in storm drains to get a good night's sleep and such. But just, the way I was going, I couldn't take a dog with me. I appreciate the compliment. I always just been, happy. You get one life. There's no point in being bitter or sad all the time. Obviously, I have my days every now and then. Everyone does, but I try to be happy. 9 times out of 10, right? Like, for every sad day, I try to have like 10 happy days. Do I have a favorite place or town? I got a few. West Virginia is always going to hold a special place in my heart, but that's where I was born and raised. Cheraw, South Carolina. I absolutely love that place just for the people. The people there are so amazing. Another place I really liked was like Central California. You always hear horror stories about California and everything. But if you stay away from the big cities, like Central California, Eastern California, it's paradise. Like the people there it's, one of my friends, they told me, outside the big cities in California, it's basically Kentucky. Right? That's like the kind of people you have. The scenery is great. Recreational trails everywhere. Absolutely love it. But if I had to move somewhere, probably be West Virginia. Just, somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. Thank you, I appreciate that. Yep, this time I'm going to try and stick with the videos. Every other time I've tried to get back into the YouTube thing, something's come up, but I cut back. I do some freelance work online. I completely cut back on my hours on that just to focus on this. Because I wasn't really getting anywhere. It's basically a 9-to-5 grind, but without a house. Oh, that's nice to hear. Welcome aboard. I have a very bad habit of disappearing, but hopefully I'm done with that. I'm at a point where I just want to do the YouTube thing, document my journey, slowly save up some money for a nice little plot of land. That's why this time I made sure that like the first 4 videos of the series I'm currently working on, I filmed the first 4 videos and then started uploading them. So now like I'm fully committed to it. What state would I want to have land in? West Virginia would probably be my first bet. If not that, Tennessee, Kentucky. Or maybe I go crazy and go to like Minnesota or Wisconsin. But West Virginia would probably be the first bet. Like the idea of being up in like Minnesota sounds really nice to me. Because it gets super cold and that would be quite a challenge. And I think that'd be a lot of fun. I like Tennessee. I don't think I've ever been to Arkansas. I'm trying to think. I don't think I have. I think that's one of the states I completely missed. I was in Tennessee for about 2 weeks. I was living at a campground, working for a woman. She needed help around the campground. She owned it, and she gave me me and Jade a cabin for 2 weeks while I worked there. Gave me food. It's great. I'm currently in the middle of a swamp in good old Florida. My chair is slowly sinking into the earth, but got a nice little fire going. Arkansas sounds good. Yeah, that's one of the big things I would need, which would be unrestricted building codes, because if I build something, I ain't building it like with actual lumber. I'm gonna mill my own wood or use logs or something like that. I'm from Mineral County. It's in like the it's like kind of in the north part of West Virginia, not the northern panhandle. It's right next to Cumberland, Maryland. Growing up, my house, I could literally throw a rock across the river and hit Cumberland, Maryland. That's why you'll often hear me say I'm from Cumberland, Maryland, just because that's quite a big city. And when you say that, people know what you're talking about. When you say originally West Virginia, people look at you like I never heard of that. Oh, that's legit. I thought about building kind of like a little mud hut out here, but I fear during the rainy season in Florida it would not survive. A fire's going decently, given that like everything is soaking wet. I got a pile of wood that's a little off screen, kind of close to the fire, so it's slowly drying out, but that's going all right. What you can't see is just behind the fire, there's a lot more wood that's like submerged in 2 feet of water. I kind of built this little fire through the sticks and everything on top, and then we had a thunderstorm yesterday and everything got flooded out. So yeah, in the summertime, the heat down in Florida is very, very bad, which is why last summer, first I went to Kentucky, and then I went to Tennessee, and then North Dakota, then Washington State, and then finally I ended up in New York, working construction, mainly doing roofing up in New York, and came back into Florida probably around September. But yes, the bugs are so bad. I'm hoping I go back up to New York this summer and get back working construction with the same guy. We'll see what happens. New York was nice. I didn't go to New York City. I was right outside Buffalo, and it was real nice. I think I've only owned one tent in my life, and I did not like it. I don't know. Tents for me just aren't a thing. It takes so long to set up, but I'm also traveling, and I gotta put up shelter and take it down within like a couple minutes. So for me, I just take a tarp, throw a tarp up, sleep on the earth. Maybe I'll have a hammock with me. I was looking at a pop-up tent. I I debated on getting. I saw one on Amazon years ago that I looked really cool. It was basically like a pop-up bivy tent. It was like a one-person tent that was basically a coffin. That looked really dope. I thought about picking that up, but I've never pulled the trigger. What's your favorite tune? Like music? Oh, I don't even know at this point. I've been listening to a lot of Electric Callboy lately. Probably something by them, like Spaceman. My music taste, it changes on almost a weekly basis. Like, I will listen to heavy metal nonstop 1 week, and then like the next week I'm listening to like 90s country. Yeah, bivy tents have always interested me. I just never pulled the trigger. Maybe one day I'll get one just to try it out. I have yet to sleep on a beach. I've been to many beaches, but I am always scared I'm gonna get hassled by like cops or something. So I've never done it. I went to Tybee Island Beach, Panama City, California. Never slept on the beach. Hawaii scares me. Like, there's like no way out once you're there, besides for like boat or plane. I don't know, that kind of freaks me out a little bit. But the weather's, from what I hear, is perfect all year round. So maybe it's worth it. Florida and California beaches are so crowded. I think that's the big reason you'd probably get in trouble. Over in Georgia, on Little Tybee Island, I remember when I went there, it was. I mean, there were a lot of people, but you know, it wasn't too bad. Also went to Jacksonville, the beach along Jacksonville. That place was so crowded. Totally forgot I was in Jacksonville at one point. It was only for a day. Uh, Last year, girl wanted to go to the beach, so I was like, all right. Hopped in her car and spent the day at the beach. I'm not really much of a beach person anyway. Like it's nice to look at the ocean. I remember when I first got to was it Panama City, Florida. I think that's what that place is called. I remember I just kind of sat down on a bench and looked at the ocean for. No, I wasn't on a bench. I was on a rock. And I just looked at the ocean for like probably a good straight hour. Then I got it out of my system. I wanted to go off in the woods. Hey, I'd be down for that. I'm always down for new experiences and new adventures. Hey, I'm in a week, or that, excuse me. I'm in a very weird situation where, like, I'm not tied down to anything. I can just take off tomorrow and do something different. But I'm also in a situation where I've made quite a few friends, so if anything bad were to ever happen, I have people to fall back on. Like the dude's property I was staying at last year, no doubt in my mind, if I called him up and said, hey, can I crash on your property for a little while? He'd say, yeah, heck yeah. Come down here, stay as long as you want. Of all the countries in the world, I think Greenland is probably one of the few I want to go to. Oh, that's a very tough question because I don't know what I'll be like when I'm 50 years old. Um, I don't know. Like, I hate to say it, I've always been one of those people. It's like, my body's never going to break down. I'm always going to be, 16 forever. But right now I'm here, 34 years old, and I'm starting to feel a little wear and tear on the body. So at 50 years old, I'm sure I would have to do some things differently if I did take off like that. You know? Don't get me wrong, like, I still feel young. Like, I could still walk across the country right now, no problem. I say no problem, I'd have some problems, but, my body would definitely handle it. But 15 more years, especially with, like, all the strain I put my body through, and, even before I was homeless, the lifestyle I was living, skateboarding all the time, and rock climbing and such, like, I've always put my body through some stress. Thank you for your compliment. I don't think I'm that strong of a person. I just push through, I guess. I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I'm just a normal person that refuses to give up or quit. Hello, my friend from Brazil. Things are going good. Just hanging out by the fire. Speaking of which, I should probably throw some more stuff on it. I'm starting to think a swamp isn't the best place for a campfire. My feet are soaking wet. Thank goodness it's a warm night tonight. Oh, I'm happy to be making videos again. Also, I'm happy for the overwhelming positive response. I was not expecting, I think my one video is up to like 4,000 views at this point. I was not expecting any of that. I was thinking, maybe a few hundred views max, but you guys are awesome. Now I just got to figure out what in the world I'm going to do when the storytime videos are done, because I've only got about 12 more of those. I have a few ideas. I appreciate the kind words. I'm just a normal dude that loves challenges and just wants to be happy. Once I'm done with like all the storytime videos, I mean, I'll probably never be done with them, honestly. There's so many things I've forgotten to like talk about already in the first, what, 3 videos I've done. Like that hammock story. That was like, I completely left out of the first video because I just forgot it happened. I'll always remember some of those stories down the line. But once I'm done with like the whole retrospective of how I got here, I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna do. I just got a few ideas. That's a good way to put it. All who wander are not lost. Past 5 years have probably been the happiest years of my life, even though they've been, without a doubt, the hardest. And yeah, I don't know. Whenever I was living the normal life, working the 9 to 5, never felt like I belonged. Now I don't feel like that anymore. Steak sounds nice. I haven't had steak in a while. Potatoes, I have quite a bit. I didn't mind working in the labor force, but I had 3 real 9 to 5 jobs my entire life, and I stayed at all of them for a very long time. And 2 out of the 3 I absolutely loved, but I had really good bosses at those 2 jobs that cared. The other one, the bosses did not care at all. They didn't care for their employees and didn't care for the customers. I didn't last long at that job. I love working for other people as long as they care, take pride in their work. Like when I worked at WVU, my boss, she did everything she could for her customers and for her employees. She was amazing. Like, that's why I never left her until I decided to open up a restaurant. Yeah, at a restaurant in Morgantown, West Virginia. I started the lease in, was it December? Maybe November of 2019. Did some renovations. By the time we opened, COVID happened. The wonderful city government decided to kick all the college students out of town. You're not allowed to live in this city. You have to leave. And like 30,000 of my customers just disappeared overnight. And so, that didn't work out very well. I mean, you could call it bad luck, but also, it set me on this journey here. Who knows? Had that not happened, maybe I would still be running a restaurant, and maybe I would be stressed out of my mind and hating life. No way of really knowing. But I'm here now, and I'm happy, so it worked out. What's that old saying? One door closes, another opens. Something like that. Yeah, so Jade. She is in her kennel, sleeping. That dog is never leaving my side. I love her way too much. Part of me wishes I still had the restaurant. Like I said, I'm happy now, so it all worked out. Would I have been happier if the restaurant would have continued onward and I became, a millionaire or whatever? Possibly. Or maybe not. Maybe I'd be stressed out of my mind and just wouldn't want to deal with it. Like, in hindsight, what happened was probably for the best. Keeping it real, dealing with thousands of drunk college students a day is that takes a toll on your psyche. Yeah, I have a Belgian Malinois. The story behind her is an interesting one. Basically, there was a dog. Her name is Callie. And Callie was a horrible dog who mauled a child and attacked everyone in sight. And she was supposed to be shot. And for some reason, somebody decided to breed her instead of shooting her. Like, I don't like it when, dogs get shot or whatever, but she mauled a child and was very aggressive. Thus, my dog was born, along with a lot of other puppies. Callie tried to kill her puppies, and the puppies were basically given to me. Buddy came to me, he's like, I got these 3 puppies, the mother's trying to kill them, please watch after them. So like, all right. And I took 3 puppies, and I kept one. One went to the sheriff, and one ended up in Tennessee. All 3 of the puppies are doing good, as far as I'm aware. And Callie, the mother, is still alive for some reason. I heard she attacked another person like a few months ago. Yeah, I got Jade, and she's absolutely wonderful. She's the most, like, I don't even know how to describe it. Everyone talks about Belgian Malinois are like so vicious, and they will protect you to the end of their life, and she probably would, but the first thing she would do is, if an intruder came, would probably be lick them to death. She wants love. She just goes up to random strangers and drops down onto her back, showing her belly, asking for belly rubs. But that is probably my fault because I spoiled her so much. I don't really have much family. Mom and dad passed away. Mom died in 2012 to cancer. Dad died in 2014 to pneumonia. Other than that, I have a brother that I don't talk about because he's not living a good life, from all that I've heard. I do have, so okay, I said my mom and dad were dead. I was adopted when I was like 3 years old. So when I say my mom and dad, I mean my adopted mother and father, because that's who I consider my mom and dad. But my biological mother is still alive. I talk to her every now and then. She supports me in whatever. I don't really have much other family, honestly. I had a cousin that I talked to once in a blue moon. He's cool. Yeah, family. I just never had it that very many. Yeah, I just haven't had much family. Oh, it's all good. It is life. If my father was alive, that's what he'd say. See, he'd probably say something along the lines of, don't be sad, I'm dead, or I'll come up from hell and I'll kick your butt. That was the type of guy he was. I don't need to worry about helping. I'm in a good place. I'm down here in Florida. I have permission to be on the land that I'm on. I got food. Jade has food. I have access to water, all that stuff. I have access to work if I need to work and make money. Not a lot of money, but, enough to get by. So, yeah, I'm pretty good. Yes, I walked through Mississippi. Mississippi, Mississippi. I didn't have a lot of eventful things happen in Mississippi. I did wake up to an alligator in Mississippi. I was sleeping under a bridge, and all of a sudden, I hear thrashing in the water, like the middle of the night, and I jumped up and I packed up, and I went and I found a new spot to sleep. That was like the extent of. Oh no, no! I got caught in a tornado in Mississippi. Yeah, that was something else that happened in Mississippi. I was at a shopping center, and I was charging my phone up, and weather app said there was like a tornado. I ended up buying a pizza and sat outside eating it, and it starts raining, like just absolute downpour, and trees are going sideways. And one of the women employees from the pizza shop walked out, and she said, "Hey, why don't you come inside and you just hang out inside for a little bit?" And I was like, "Okay." Also, before that happened, there was a security guard who walked up to me, and I looked at him like, "You gonna kick me out?" And he looked over at the trees that's going sideways. He's like, "I'd never kick you out in time like this. I'm just making sure you're okay." I never actually got like hit by the tornado. It was just trees were sideways, and I was in that little pizza shop, just kind of hanging out. Employees were super nice. I do not do any form of drugs, including the wacky tobacco. I will have a beer like maybe once a month. Yeah, I don't. When I was, I'll get to the question about hurricanes in a second. When I was a teenager, 19 years old, 20 years old, I got addicted to pain pills really bad, hydrocodone. And when I quit hydrocodone, I told myself I'm done with drugs, like forever, including weed. I don't want any of that stuff ever again. And I've only relapsed one time, in 2014 when my dad died. I relapsed for like a night. But since then, no weed, no pain pills, and I picked up drinking about a year and a half ago. I got real bad, and finally I gave that up, and now I just have like a beer every like special occasion. So yeah, I try to live the sober life as best as possible. Hurricanes. So I've had a couple experiences with hurricanes. In 2020, I was in Panama City, Florida, and I was asleep in some trees right behind a Dollar General. And I woke up to sirens blaring. There's a hurricane. And I thought to myself, you know what? This can't be that bad. And I kept sitting there under my tarp thinking everything is going to be okay. Next thing I know, the tent stakes, because I had my tarp tent staked to the ground, the tent stakes are ripped out of the ground, and my tarp goes flying. I'm like, oh, this isn't good. So I quickly pack up and I go to the Dollar General, and it had a overhang on it, and I sat outside. And a woman immediately came outside. She's like, "If you want to come inside, you're free to come inside." And I said, "I'll chill out here for a little bit, but if the water keeps rising, I'll take you up on that." So there was that. And then last year, I was in Florida, and we got hit by all those hurricanes last year, including, what was the big one? Helene or something like that? The one that decimated North Carolina. I was living in an RV at the time, on a dude's property. The RV didn't run or anything. It was just a buddy of mine. He had some land, and he let me live there. And me and my 2 dogs at the time, who are unfortunately no longer with us, we rode out the Hurricane Helene in that RV, and the entire night it was just rocking back and forth. Like, I thought it was going to tip over. Meanwhile, Lulu and Raven, my dogs, they're just chilling. They don't know what's going on. Like, they think nothing's wrong. But, Hurricane Helene, it did a lot of damage up in, like, North Carolina and stuff. Where I was, we didn't get hit that hard. Like, I guess it, like, sped up or something after it got through with us. Don't get me wrong, it was rough, but from looking at what happened up in North Carolina, like, it was nowhere near that bad for us. So yeah, those are my hurricane stories. I either go to a Dollar General or I just sit in an RV and pray it doesn't tip over. And then this year we didn't have any hurricanes. I was in Florida from August, or maybe it was September, I don't remember. And we didn't get hit with any hurricanes. I don't know what I would have done this year. That would have been interesting. Yeah. In 10 years, I am hoping I have a plot of land that I can just live off of. Like, right now, I'm at a buddy's property. I have permission to be here and everything. And he says, yeah, I can do basically whatever I want. Within reason, of course. Like, if I want to build a shack, I can build a shack. All that stuff. But I want a plot of land where, like, I can literally do whatever I want. And just build a tiny home. Build, a little garden with food. Just that kind of stuff. Live off the land a little bit. Not completely. Like, I'm not one of those people with, like, I shun society and grocery stores. But, if I can cut back on not having to go to a grocery store, that would be nice. And, just live peacefully. And me and my dog. Oh, the RV. The RV I was staying in at the time. If you go back on my channel, you'll see that I did add a video about an RV. That's not the RV I was staying in at the time. That's a different RV. The RV I was staying in at the time was actually really nice. Like I said, it didn't run at all. It wouldn't even start. It was basically just there to be like a place somebody could live in. But it was nice. Like, it wasn't falling apart. It didn't leak. All the like little, it was perfectly acceptable as a place to sleep and live. But they're very top heavy. All RVs are top heavy, so during a hurricane it rocked a lot. I put a lot of work in that RV. So there was another dude who was living in the RV before me. I'm not going to give his name. But so basically I was on my buddy's property last year, and 2 of us were living out there. 3 of us counting him. The other guy was also homeless. And he was living in the RV, and he trashed it. Like I I don't like talking bad about people, but he had a dog, and he would not clean up after his dog inside the RV, and the smell was so horrible. And after that, the landowner kicked him out. You know, like, if you're not going to take care of the stuff, I don't want you hearing everything. And so we cleaned up the RV, and I moved into it. Oh, I just noticed my phone is on 10%. We're going to find out if charging my phone while it's running live streaming is going to overheat it. I have bad luck with phones overheating. Alright. Phone's on charge. We'll see what happens. If the live stream randomly cuts out, that's because the phone overheated and just did not want to continue. Yeah, communities like that. I don't really want to join like a community. That's obviously there's the cult aspect of it, but also I kind of like my alone time and peace and quiet and just doing things at my pace. Nothing against the communities that are actually real communities. Like, that's awesome. It's just not for me. I'd rather be alone. Or with a very few select people, if that makes sense. Oh, geez, a Sprinter. That's dope. I didn't have it. Guy I was traveling with last year, he had his like a Chevy like 1500 cargo van, like one of the like his cargo van, like one of the tiny cargo vans, and we traveled from Florida to Washington State with 6 dogs in that little van and slept in it, and it was ridiculous. Never again. But yeah, a Sprinter sounds nice. Like a Sprinter for just, 1 or 2 people and a dog or something. That would be dope. Oh, the Chevy Express, it never died. Like, I know for a fact, like, it could have gone for 500,000 miles. It would never die. But the fact is, like, that little van with 2 grown adults and 6 dogs, 5 of which were Belgian Malinois, and one was we had 5 Belgian Malinois, and we had a giant Schnauzer. Like, he slept in the back with his 5 dogs, and I slept up front in the seat that wouldn't recline with my dog. Like Chevy Express, if you just got 2 people and a dog, that's fine. But anything more than that, it gets... Plus, we had so much stuff with us. We had 2 dog kennels, like large dog kennels full of like clothes and shoes and, all other manner of things you need when you're traveling. Like, yeah, like for me and Jade, Chevy Express, that's all you need. That Chevy Express is still on my buddy's property. If I had a driver's license still, I might take up the van life. But I've kind of given up on the old government ID. Maybe one day. Yeah, van life's interesting to me. That would be fun. Like that would be a way for me to travel across the country and not feel bad about taking Jade with me. Oh yeah, I agree. I remember with our Chevy Express van, because we drove it so much, we didn't just drive it to Washington State. Originally, we drove it to Kentucky, and then we went back down. No, we went to Kentucky, and then up to North Dakota, back to Florida, then from Florida to Washington State. We had to replace the wheels, and we had to replace the brakes too. So yeah, like that was fun. It didn't do too bad on gas though. I'll give it that. Like for a cargo van, and with all the weight we were carrying, the gas mileage was more than acceptable. Favorite state or place? West Virginia is always going to hold a place in my heart. Also, the the eastern part of California. It's absolutely beautiful. Stay out of the cities in California is amazing. Utah is another place that I'm really drawn to. I really like Utah. And it's very weird because normally I like, lush green mountains and trees and stuff, and there is that in Utah in some places, but for the most part, Utah is, I don't know if desert's the right word, but giant rocks everywhere. I remember a lot of giant rocks. Oh, that sucks about the Sprinter. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Slab City. You're talking about Slab City. Oh yeah, there you go. I've never been to Slab City. Me and a buddy were debating on going there. When I was in Cumberland, Maryland, and I was originally gonna go down south to Florida, a buddy of mine was like, I'm gonna get a van and I'm gonna go to Slab City. You coming with me? I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Why not? He never got the van in time though, and I was like, I'm getting too deep into the alcohol and there's too many drugs around. I gotta get out of the city. And so I ended up leaving. So yeah, I've never been to Slab City. I don't know if it'd be a place for me. That's not a bad deal. Live on a reservation for $25. When I was in North Dakota, my buddy was working on a cow farm. I was watching his dogs while he worked on a cow farm, and that was on a reservation. Never had a problem with the reservation. It is just another place for me, honestly. There was supposedly a lot of crime, but I never witnessed all that much crime. But I also didn't leave the house very much because I had to watch all the dogs. Yeah, reservations can be nice. I think that's the only reservation I've ever been on. The one up in North Dakota. I might have passed through. No, I passed through a reservation in, I think it was Arizona. But I wasn't there very long. I have a Chromebook. I do not game. I used to play the video games when I was younger, but not anymore. In my 20s, I played a lot of RimWorld. That was like my game. And like Fallout and Skyrim, but I was never like a huge gamer or anything. Yeah, Slab City is just, it's not for me. I watched a few docs on it. It's filled with drugs from what I hear, like a lot of meth and stuff. And nah, I don't do that stuff. I can't. I don't want to be around it. You know. Berkeley Springs, south from where I grew up. I was closer to Winchester, honestly. But yeah, Berkeley Springs was cool. Yeah, I passed through Berkeley Springs on my very first walk across the country, and I went to Thurmond, West Virginia, which was a ghost town. Supposedly a ghost town. It was basically a tourist attraction at that point, which was unfortunate. Yeah. Berkeley Springs is kind of like the city people from West Virginia don't like to claim. We just pretend that city doesn't exist, but I've never had a real problem with it. I've been to Winchester a few times. I saw somebody in concert there, some country artist. I can't even remember. This was like 16 years ago. Yeah. Oh, my dog is not around right now. She is back in her kennel about 500 feet away from me. If she was out here, I would have to have her tied up because there's a donkey pasture. Not close, but within running distance, and I don't want her to get in a donkey pasture. And if I had her tied up, she would be attacking the tripod. Maybe tomorrow I'll do another live stream and I'll tie her up and I'll see how she does. But every other time, whenever I'm trying to like film a video or something and I have her off her leash, or even if she's tied up to a tree or something, she just attacks the phone and attacks me with love, and nothing gets done. Oh, he probably got scared. The town I'm in has a lot of strays. Well, the town I'm close to anyway. You drive about 10 or 15 minutes, you get into town. There's about 4 different stray dogs. I found a stray puppy like about a month ago. Me and a buddy were driving into town, and there was this puppy. He couldn't have been more than like 10 weeks old. And he's just on the side of the road, and there was a food and water dish there, so somebody was watching after him, so to speak. But we'd get close to him, and he'd just duck under the fence. It was like his barbed wire fence, and just kind of stare at us. Sounds good. You stay safe as well. We thought about rescuing the little pup, but I've already got one dog to look after, and given my situation, I don't think I can really watch after another. Plus, Jade, she is a Belgian Malinois. She's older, she plays rough. This is a little puppy. And the other guy, he's also got 2 dogs. So, yeah. We every time we pass by there, we check on him, make sure he's okay. I'll see you on the next live stream. Be safe out there. Safe travels. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be up for. I'm going to let this fire burn down a little bit. We are in a swamp, so ain't nothing going to catch, but just want to burn down a little bit more before I leave it for the night. Yeah, I've been to Mississippi. First time I walked across the country, I passed through Mississippi. I never had any problems with it. I got caught in a little tornado and saw some alligators, but people were good. People were good. Cops were good. I never went to any of the big cities, but the little cities I did go to, they were nice. Like, on my entire trip, I haven't really been anywhere bad. Like, High Point was sketchy. High Point, North Carolina, that was a sketchy town, but... And all of the West Coast California towns are... Besides for San Diego was alright. But the other West Coast California towns, they were a little too much for me. You don't see a lot of alligators in Mississippi. I mean, I guess if you're out in the boonies, you will, but just driving on the roads and stuff, you're not going to see many. It's not like in Florida where, if I start walking down any road somewhere. Oh, my phone didn't like something. Is it overheating? It's getting a little hot, but it's still good. Yeah, you won't see very many alligators in Mississippi. It's one of those things where you either have to look for them or kind of be in the middle of nowhere. Yep, my phone. It's getting a little warm because it's live streaming and it's on charge at the same time. We'll see what happens. See, I walked through like kind of the central part of Mississippi, so I wasn't down at the south end. I saw 2 alligators while I was there. One was dead alongside a back road, and the other one I woke up to in the middle of the night, thrashing in the water. But that's because I was like sleeping down under a bridge next to like a swampland. So that one was on me. Louisiana's the place that has a lot of gators. I remember in Louisiana, I'd just be sitting along the river and I'd see 1 or 2 gators an hour would just pass by me. I got a love-hate relationship with Louisiana. So the eastern part of Louisiana was really nice. The people were great. The landscape was great. The humidity was horrible. That was one of the worst things. And then I got on the Louisiana Trail, and it was the worst trail I've ever been on. I don't even want to call it a trail. It was just, like ruts everywhere filled with water. I had to wade through like 3 feet of water at a time. And then I got to Shreveport, Louisiana. And that is a place I'll never go to ever again for the rest of my life. Just zombies. Literal zombies. People on drugs. If you were in Shreveport, then yeah, that's places. I don't like to talk bad about places or anything because, I'm only in a place for a day, maybe a week at a time, but it wasn't for me. Like I had one guy, I was staying under a bridge, and I had one guy try to start a fight with me because he wanted drugs, and I didn't have drugs, but he thought I did, so he tried to start a fight with me, so I booked it out of there. Found another spot. There's this dude who was talking to himself, punching himself, walking back and forth. I found another spot, slept, woke up. Same dude standing in the same spot, yelling at himself. Like all night long. I got the heck out of there. I'll try some Popeyes in Louisiana. I don't think I've ever had Popeyes in my life. I've never been a fast food kind of guy. Except for Sheetz. If you're on the West Coast, you probably don't know what a Sheetz is. But anyone on the East Coast, they know what Sheetz is, and they probably love it. Taco Bell is a good fast food place. But that was back when they were cheap. I don't know if they're still cheap anymore. I haven't had Taco Bell in like a year. Yeah, the best way to avoid the crazy people, if you're doing what I used to do, is just to avoid the cities. Like, I'm not saying small towns don't have crazy people. They obviously do, but bigger cities have a larger concentration of the crazies. Oh, you're from Pennsylvania, sweet. Yeah, Sheets is one of the reasons I don't like Florida all that much. We don't have a Sheets down here. Breaks my heart. It's not really the food of at Sheets. It's more of, like, obviously I probably have a different experience than everyone else. But every Sheets I've ever been to, like, I go in, I grab some food, and then I just sit down in their indoor area, and I can plug my phone in, I can charge up. They won't bother me. I remember in Virginia, about a year and a half ago, I was in a Sheets for like 8 hours because it was raining. Employees never got upset. There's actually Sheets down in South Carolina now. Yeah, like the northern part of South Carolina, you can find a Sheets. I've never thrown any trash in the Sheets dumpster, to be fair. But I never have a lot of trash. I just throw it in the trash can. That's crazy. That's one of the cult corporate moments. Yeah, never had that experience. But I do believe you, of course. Like, I'm sure there's like a couple Sheets, some Sheets like, you know, manager has power trips and just wants to be that kind of guy. That's how all places are. All businesses have just those select locations. Thank you. I will. I'm probably going to be getting off here in a few minutes. Fire's burned down pretty good. And want to go see the pup. Yep, I'm going to log off. I appreciate everybody for coming out and all the support and everything. Gonna try and do live streams. I don't want to say nightly because I know for a fact I won't keep that schedule. But I'm gonna try and do some live streams. In the future. I got a lot of the swamp I need to burn down. There's so much stuff that needs cleaned up. Alright. I'm logging off, everybody. Thank you all for coming out. Peace out. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Be safe.